in the zone. When it's time for the moment, you already know. Flip the channel, hear that voice. Big stakes, big stage, one choice. From the coin toss to the last shot, he break it all down on the spot. Sideline swagger, zip up jacket. Notes in the pad, whole board mapped it. Every city, every loud crowd chanting. If the trophy on the line, he's standing. It's the KR Big Game Show. You feel that buzz soon as lights go. If it's win or lose, he gon' be there. Talking every play like fresh air. Bills Mafia riding, whole nation loud. Big smile steady in the tensest crowd. When the big game hit, he on call for show. It's the KR Big Game Show. KR in the zone. When it's time for the moment, you already know.
Ladies and gentlemen, the KR Big Game Show with your host, Big Game Kerry Reeves.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. It's Tuesday night, part one of the therapy session we have every weekend. This is going to be a great episode, another great episode tonight. Thank you for joining me. I'm Big Game Kerry Reeves, here for your entertainment, here to drop some knowledge on you on some of the sports and some of the big things that are going on in this day and age. Let's get some business out of the way. Thank you guys for watching. We're over 20,000 views. Our next goal is to try to get over 25,000 views. If we can get over 25, that's a great step. We go to 30 and then so on and so on. Keep punching that like button and share our call so we can get others to join it. And remember, the views of my program are not affiliated with those of any other organizations and entities. They're just solely of the RWAC family, guest panelists, and views. And if you get a chance tonight, please join the show on the MIDI chat box live and ask your questions and voice your opinions. And remember, smash that like button and share us. Before we get started tonight, we're going to remember a great coach, guy that I grew up in my childhood, the great Lou Holtz. 89 years old. You know about most of his career. A lot of people this generation know about him as an analyst and a motivational speaker. Guys from my generation remember when he coached William and Mary and Arkansas is when he came to national prominence and led them to 6 bowl games in 7 years, then became the coach at Minnesota and turned their program around. And then in 1985, he got the greatest job humanly possible. He got to be the head coach of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish and led them to their last national championship in 1988, beating West Virginia. And then after that Notre Dame career, he took a few years off and then rejuvenated South Carolina football to places they had never been until Steve Spurrier got there and kept the energy going. But he started that energy in South Carolina, went from 0-11 to 8-3 and then 10-2. Amazing job as a coach. Lou Holtz, an amazing motivator, an amazing man. A lot of this generation, like I said, remember him as a TV analyst. Then he joined ESPN, and wow, the chemistry that him, Reese Davis, and Mark May had was absolutely amazing. I stayed up. I normally didn't stay up to see college football final because it was most of the time was on later than that. There are times I stayed up just to listen to Dr. Lou and to see their court battles and him discussing the highlights. Him and Mark May and Reese Davis, the great chemistry they had was just unbelievable. Lou Holtz, you will be missed, my man. You will be missed by all football fans. Let's get to college basketball. The last week of the regular season just finished up. A lot of great results and some interesting and there's possible seed adjustments for the upcoming NCAA tournament. How did you guys view the regular season? I thought this regular season was one of the best I've ever seen. You had upsets all over the place. You had teams that have came on the come up, started fast, drifted off a little bit. You've got, and out of all that chaos, you got, I think the 4 favorites to win the national championship are Duke, Arizona, Michigan, and Florida. To me, those are the 4 favorites. Possible teams on the outside like UConn, Texas Tech, Iowa State, Michigan State, a few others in that bunch. But me, the top 4 favorites are Duke, Michigan, Arizona, and Florida because their ball right now is just absolutely playing the best ball. And we're looking forward to the regular season and the story, too. Miami of Ohio, still undefeated and now playing in their conference tournament. the validity of their record. People keep questioning about that. I say, hey, they're undefeated. You know how hard it is to be undefeated? 1976 was the last time an undefeated team won the national championship. That was Indiana. They were and back in the mid 70s, you played 32. They played 32 games total. You were only allowed to play 24, 25 in a regular season. And remember, some of the conferences that have postseason tournaments now, a lot of them didn't have postseason tournaments, like the Big Ten, like the SEC. The SEC tournament went away from World War II and was brought back in 1979. The Big Ten tournament was just brought back 15 years ago. That's how far they had never had a tournament until 15 years ago. And back then when the NCAA tournament was only 24 teams. Yes, 24 teams, which means you only won three to four games to win a national championship. And if you got any comments about that, if you're out there listening, there's the link to the show. Get a chance to add some comments, or if you want to jump on for about 5 minutes, that'd be fantastic. And speaking of which, with college basketball going on, what we have, and that being said about college basketball, conference tourneys are beginning this week. Some of them began late last week and extended into this week. You got finals going tonight. One of them is Santa Clara versus Gonzaga, which is going to be a great final in the WCC championship game. You got the bigger conferences now just started up. Today was the ACC, and the Big 12 and the Big East got started up today. And tomorrow you got the Big 10, the SEC, and the American Athletic Conference starting up. You got some great tournaments. And got some great teams, got some stories, looking for people who wants to set the tone, who wants to add to their story. Joe Lenardi's got bracketology going, and he's got a lot of teams flopping on that first four in, first four out, last four in. There are teams like Auburn in the SEC. There's like teams like Auburn, Texas, Missouri. Auburn may need to win the entire tournament because their loss total, they have 15 losses. That's way too many. They may have to win the conference tournament and steal a bid from somebody well-deserving. Texas and Missouri may need a couple of wins, may need just to get to Saturday, may need to get to the final on Sunday just to have a chance to get in. Got some great stories all over the Big Ten. You got some teams. So you got Nebraska, you got Michigan, who's a class of the Big Ten. You got Illinois, you got Nebraska, Michigan State, and you got some teams like Iowa. You got some teams like Northwestern. They may need a good run just to be just get themselves considered for the NCAA tournament. The ACC. Only question is, you got Duke. You got Miami, you got North Carolina. Are there any more and Virginia? Are there any more bids coming out of the ACC other than those four? Right now, not a lot of people say there's going to be only those four bids from the ACC. Big game. My man Stallion is going to be down there for Thursday, Friday, the ACC tournament in Charlotte, which is going to be a lot of fun. The tickets are going like hotcakes. The SEC tournament is in Nashville. Team tickets are going. And an historic event tomorrow is that Kentucky is actually playing on the first day of the SEC tournament. That's how far things have fallen for Mark Pope and the Kentucky Wildcats. It's the first time they have ever played on day one of the SEC tournament. Usually they're a day two, no worse than day three. No, they are day one. So we know Nashville will have a crowd tomorrow because a lot of Kentucky fans show up. This is their vacation time. This is spring break, which is going on here in Knoxville and Blount counties this week with kids being out of school. And Kentucky fans are going to Nashville. They don't know what's going to happen. They don't know what to expect. They could win one. Their team temperament, they could win one. They could win four. They could win five and win the whole tournament. They could help their case for the NCAA. Like I said, I think Auburn can help their case if they win the tournament. Texas and Missouri can help their case, and so on and so on. Some of the other teams. Another story in the SEC tournament. Will Nate Ament be back for the SEC tournament? Things are looking up towards him being back for the game on Thursday against either Auburn or Mississippi State. And they're looking upward. A lot of the postseason awards are going out. Todd Golden won SEC Coach of the Year. You had Newcomer of the Year, which is Jacob Gillespie, right here from our own Tennessee Volunteers. He also made first team conference. He made first team defense, and he was also one of the top players for Defensive Player of the Year. Nate Ament made the all freshman team and second team all conference. Felix Opara made second team all conference, who led the SEC in block shot and was on first team defense for leading the block shot. A lot of awards coming down. It's going to be fun to see the awards come out from the ACC. Carlos Boozer was the ACC Player of the Year, and it's probably going to end up being the National Player of the Year. Duke just suffered a major injury themselves when their point guard Oliver has a broken bone in their foot, and he's out for the rest of the tournament. And their other starter, Jomba, is an injury himself that'll knock him out for the rest of the season. But they got some people coming back, which will still help them. They're still one of the favorites to win the national title. But they really cannot help the case. UConn for a top seed, I think UConn needs to run the table and win the Big East tournament and hope Florida slips up somewhere. Remember, UConn has that win over Florida in the regular season, but right now that's not really mattering because UConn went to Marquette Saturday, played a 12-17 Marquette team and got beat at Marquette by a 12-17 team. That may be the worst loss by any team. That's the worst loss probably by any team this year. It was not a good look, not a good loss, not a good look for UConn as they try. And Danny Hurley, why do you wait till 1 second left of the game to get kicked out? If you're going to get kicked out, do it sooner. There's getting kicked out with 1 second left does no good. That's like the bus starting up and taking off without the team. It does no good. But UConn's got to figure out how far they're going to go in the tournament. Seeding's going to be important. I'm dying to see where on Sunday evening at 6:00, the announcements will come out. I want everybody that's interested in the NCAA tournament, get your popcorn ready, get your board, get your brackets ready. Your favorite team may not be in the spot you think it is. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the committee selects these seeds and how they place a lot of these teams. Because remember, conference teams in the NCAA tournament cannot face each other until the regional semifinals. That is key for conferences with big numbers like the Big Ten and the SEC. SEC might get 11. The Big Ten might get 10. And those are hugely important because they have to separate them to make sure they cannot face each other until the regional semifinals. So it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of this week folds out, who's on the border. I mean, who needs help, which are the teams out there that can actually steal a bid in these other tournaments, these other tournaments. You got to watch out. These teams that are not on the radar picture can come in and steal a bid from one of these teams that are looking for an at-large bid. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing next week. We'll talk about the NCAA tournament. I'll have some brackets and we'll make some predictions about who's going to make it through the first week. If there's any upsets on the table, everybody's going to have a chance to talk about them. Let's get to the NHL. The NHL has been on fire since the Olympic break. You got attendance is all over the place. And my Buffalo Sabres, I have to give a shout out to my Buffalo Sabres. They're the hottest team in hockey right now. They've won 8 in a row. They're 26-6-2 since December the 9th. And the game that they played with Tampa on Sunday was one of the best hockey games I personally have ever seen or been at. It was unbelievable. 102 penalty minutes, 15 goals, comebacks. Buffalo first led the game 4-1. Tampa came back to lead 7-5. Then Buffalo came back at the end with 3 goals in the last 8 minutes of the third period to win 8-7 in what was a landmark festive game. Atmosphere in Buffalo was just unbelievable. And if you had told, and I had talked to my brother, if you had told me that on December the 9th, when the Buffalo Sabres were 11-14-2, did they have a chance to make the playoffs? We all sat there and looked and said, you're out of your mind. It's amazing what 3 months can do. Changes in administration, changes in the organization, and 3 months can do after. They are now the hottest team in the NHL. One of the streaks that they're going on in history right now is just unbelievable. And has a new rivalry been born with Buffalo and Tampa Bay? I personally would like to see it because there's a lot of Tampa fans that come up to Buffalo for games, and there's a lot of New Yorkers, there's a lot of Northerners that live in Florida. A lot of Buffalo fans live in Florida. So they travel to Miami, they travel to Tampa, they go see the hockey that's going on. They see the football. Yes, I think that would be great for the NHL. What's great for the NHL is when teams like Buffalo, one of their foundation, they were one of the first expansion teams. They talk about the original 6 that carried hockey for so long, but in the late 60s, they have a group called the original 4 of the expansion. Buffalo was the last of the original 4. It still goes on strong to this day. It is unbelievable. The fans are excited. Their play has been great. Tage Thompson, the Olympian, Henrik Dahlin, the captain who was on the Swedish national team that won the bronze. They are out there just doing it, and we got guys coming in that are helping out. It's a total team effort right now. You got They got two goalies that could carry this team either way. Two goalies, Luca Tin and Lyon, can carry this team as far as they want to go. It has been fantastic. You got other action going on. Boston has been hot. You got Carolina, which still leads the Eastern Conference in points. You've got the Islanders with their hot rookie Hatcher, who's probably going to be rookie of the year. You got the West, which is very competitive, but there's a big difference in the West between first, second, third, and fourth. And then when you get down to fifth, sixth, seventh, there's a huge disparity. The West is top heavy. The East is heavy for 1 through 8. Should be a fantastic playoff. We're getting into the stretch now. We're under the 17 game mark of the season. And you see that there's a lot of action every night because they're getting the season done by the beginning of April. So that's when the playoffs start. And trust me, if the regular season is any indication of what the playoffs are going to be, the playoffs are going to be absolutely fire. It's going to be absolutely electric, the NHL playoffs. And Canada, remember, has not had a Stanley Cup since 1993. Keep that in mind. The American team has won every cup since 1994. Good luck to everybody else. The way it's going right now, the only Canadian teams that have a shot in is Montreal and possibly Ottawa. That's probably your two Canadian teams. If Edmonton doesn't get themselves going, they may miss out on the playoffs. And what does that do for McDavid? That's going to be an interesting question. You got a lot of teams trying to jockey for position. We're going to find out more in the next couple of weeks as things really start to smooth out and get and just jump in and just see what happens. It's going to be a lot of fun. If anybody has any comments, here's the link once again for everybody. Share a comment, jump on, have fun, do what you do. All right. And now let's get to another topic. We got NFL free agency. Since 12 noon on Monday, it seems like everything's just gotten started. It's been unbelievable. It has been, the moves are flowing fast and furious. You got some of the big moves as you see on the screen. You got Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker goes to Kansas City. Mike Evans leaves Tampa after 12 years in Tampa, Super Bowl champion, great 12 straight years of 1,000 yards receiving in Tampa, goes to San Francisco for 3 years, $60 million. One of the big surprises of the day was Malik Willis, after Miami hours earlier had released Tua Tagovailoa and taken on a dead cap hit, which is the biggest in NFL history of $99 million. Hours later, the Miami Dolphins signed Malik Willis to a 3-year, $65 million deal. Travis Etienne, who was the leading rusher in Jacksonville last year, goes to New Orleans. Alec Pierce, a free agent wide receiver who was going to be coveted by a few teams, decided to stay in Indianapolis, and I really believe no one else was going to pay 4 years, $116 million, which adds up to about $29 million every year. I didn't see a lot of teams going for that kind of a deal for a guy that has never had 50 catches in a season. It just boggles my mind. You also got Romeo Doubs today going to New England for 4 years, $80 million. You got, hold on a second. Give me a chance to hit some of these free agent deals, which has been really cool. Going through everything, you got, hold on, you got Cam Hayward staying in Pittsburgh. You got Jordan Elliott going to the Titans. You got Stone Forsythe going to the Panthers. You got Chanel with the Kansas City Chiefs going to the Commanders. You got Fortner, who was your center for the Panthers, going to Jacksonville. You got Teddy Bridgewater's returning to the Lions as a backup quarterback. You got all kinds of deals going on, and there's still more to go. And it leads me to the next conversation with the big moves coming. Big moves come releases and trades. Tua has been released. Michael Pittman gets traded from the Colts to the Steelers after the Alec Pierce year gets done. You got Max Crosby in one of the big trades going to Baltimore for 2 number 1 picks. The Raiders have been very busy and active in free agency right now. Their free agency period and the Titans free agency period has been absolutely phenomenal. The players that they've gotten, they've reunited some of them with coaches. It's absolutely incredible. I expect the Raiders to improve, and I expect the Titans to improve. Don't know if either team could make the playoffs, but I expect both teams to be better coached, better played, and be A lot more improved. And of course, the last other move is that DJ Moore goes from Chicago to my Bills, which is a great move. DJ Moore, you saw the catches he made in the postseason and in the regular season. You saw him catching those passes against the Packers, against the Rams. He is definitely a caliber of a number one receiver. He played for Joe Brady in Carolina and had two of his best years. His first 2 years in Carolina had two of his best years with over 1,200 yards and 1,300 yards receiving. So he's going to fit into Buffalo's offense really well. He knows the personnel. He knows Joe Brady. He's going to fit in very nicely. And we got more moves to come. There are guys out there that still haven't been signed yet, like Trey Hendrickson. Who's going to get Trey Hendrickson? He's asking for $30 million. He's asking for $30 million a year. I think he's going to have to come down off of that because I don't think $30 million a year is going to. Whoa. And I just got some breaking news just now. We talked about Max Crosby. The Baltimore Ravens have backed out of the Max Crosby deal. Max Crosby is on his way back to Las Vegas. Somehow, we're going to find out what's going on. And this is big news right now in the free agency world. Max Crosby has backed out. The Ravens have backed out of the Max Crosby trade, and Max Crosby is going back to the Las Vegas Raiders. The Ravens get both of their draft picks back. There's more to come with this thing. We don't know the full story. We do know that the trade has been called off. One of the biggest trades in this offseason has now been called off. This gets very interesting. I'm dying to see where this goes. There's going to be a lot of stories with this. There's going to be a lot of news. There's going to be a lot of things that just happened with it. Raiders have had a really good offseason, and there's a chance now they could keep Max Crosby. They could end up keeping Max Crosby to add to a defense that they've built and a team they've really started to build up. This is incredible. This is absolutely incredible. Like I said, there's more to this story. It's about to get very interesting. And as soon as I know more about it next week, I'm going to report more about this because when more details come out, I'm sure this is going to be absolutely crazy report about it. So with everything going on this week with the free agency and everything else, we're staying entertained. You've got college basketball getting ready, hitting the March Madness. You got some of these tournaments with some of these buzzer beaters that have been incredible. You got the NHL, which is going strong right now, very strong. Going very strong. You got the free agency. You got all kinds of stuff going on. This is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Like I said, we're going to find out more about this deal. I'm going to find out more and get some more information next week. And actually, I was going to put the Baltimore Ravens on my big game performance this week because they pulled off the deal getting Max Crosby. Now that looks like that has been wiped off completely. So to me, my big game performance this week, I got a couple of them. Number one goes to the Buffalo Sabres. They're the hottest team in hockey right now, 7 straight. They are 26-6-2 since December the 9th. The goaltending's been incredible. The action has been fleeced. They've got 5 lines, folks. I had a chance to watch them quite a bit more after the Olympic break, and I'm telling you, they got 5 lines that can do damage to you physically, mentally, and emotionally. They could just drain you, and they run with speed. They precision passing. Goaltending has been absolutely stellar. It has absolutely been incredible, all of this that is going on with the Buffalo Sabres. They're part of my big game performers this week. Also, part of my big game performers this week is Team USA. And what they've done in the World Baseball Classic has absolutely been phenomenal. They've been hitting the long ball. And last night they played Mexico. They played the defense ball last night with a throwout from Aaron Judge, the judge from right field, and then Bobby Witt Jr. made 2 outstanding plays in the field, which just covered everything. And Team USA getting through that bit, they are the favorite now. Everybody's expecting them and Japan to face each other down the road in another week for the World Baseball Classic like last year. That is going to be so much fun. They also get a big game performance of the week because they have been incredible. And I want to salute one other big game performance. Duke, Arizona, Michigan, Florida. Right now, 4 best teams in college basketball, and what they've done, you got combined records. Duke's only lost twice. Michigan's only lost twice. Arizona has only lost twice. Florida has lost more. They've lost 7 times, but most of their losses were non-conference. In the SEC, they have been dominant. The SEC tournament, the only question is, if Florida doesn't win it, who does? Because it seems like Florida is here and everybody else is here. And I want to see who jockeys for positions in the brackets and see what's going on. Duke, class above everybody in the ACC. It's Duke, and then you got North Carolina, Miami, Virginia, and then it seems like there's a big drop-off after Virginia. It's huge. Big Ten, Michigan, Michigan State, Illinois, Nebraska. Ohio State's crept into the conversation. They've had a last 3 weeks. They have looked absolutely phenomenal. Purdue has been stumbling along their way back then, and I'm a happy man to see that because I am not a big Purdue fan. And then there's Arizona. Probably playing in the toughest conference in America, have outlasted Houston, Texas Tech, Kansas, Iowa State, BYU. Those teams right there, those are 5 quality teams that would win their conference in any other year. Arizona, just Tommy Lloyd, the National Coach of the Year, probably may be the toughest race in the history of the award. And I'm finding out more about Max Crosby. There are medical reasons involved in the deal. They haven't come out with everything else, but there are medical reasons why Max Crosby's deal with the Ravens and everything has totally gone to have Max Crosby, believe it or not, folks, is back on the market. I wonder how much that changes everything now. If the Raiders still plan to get rid of Max Crosby, or do they intend to embrace him and keep him? Either way this goes, this NFL free agency just got a whole lot more interesting. Because now Trey Henderson, who's probably a big loser in this deal, because now he's not the premium pass rusher in this deal. Max Crosby now, even though he's back with the Raiders, he could still get traded if somebody presents the right deal. They said the Cowboys were in the deal. They say the Bills were in the deal. They said the Eagles were in the deal, and they said the Patriots were in the deal. I'm dying to see if any of those teams now step back up to the plate and make a move for Max Crosby. That's what I want to see. That's what I think we're going to have happen. This is going to be an absolute blast to see what happens with Max Crosby. Well, that's it, folks, for me tonight. Thank you, guys. I enjoyed the show. Was great. I'm glad I got a chance to be out here and talk with all of you. Join us tomorrow night, Rebels with a Cause. We're going to have some fun. And like I said, thank you for always watching us. Thank you for watching me. I appreciate the follow. I appreciate the likes. Hit that smash button. Hit that like button. Keep following us. Build up our views. Build up everything. I'm enjoying everything. It is fantastic. And my message to everybody is thank you for watching, and always know when I speak it, you know it's a big game. For everybody, for everybody that helps with the show, which is basically me, my buddy Stallion. I got guys out there, Larry Frank, giving me advice. I got all kinds of people out there giving me advice. And I said, I hope everything's going real well so far, and I appreciate the love and I appreciate the support that everybody's giving me. Thank you guys for tonight. I will see you next Tuesday. We will talk about the brackets. We're going to talk about who's going to get through the first week. We'll do it in a 3-part process. We'll talk about the first week, the second week, and then the final 4. We're going to talk more about the NFL free agency and this news that comes down tonight. Are you kidding me? This may have changed everything in free agency to see what happens and to see what goes through with the NHL, see if Buffalo can continue their hot streak, and see what goes on with the World Baseball Classic with Team USA, Team Japan, and some of the other teams that are in it. Thank you for joining me tonight. Good night, everybody, and I will see you next Tuesday. And remember, when I speak it, you know it's a big game. Big game saying so long. Thank you, and good night.
Yeah. KR in the zone. When it's time for the moment, you already know. Flip the channel. Hear that voice, big stakes, big stage, one choice. From the coin toss to the last shot, he break it all down on the spot. Sideline swagger, zip up jacket, notes in the pad, whole board mapped it. Every city, every loud crowd chanting. If the trophy on the line, he's standing. It's the KR Big Game Show. You feel that buzz soon as lights go. If it's win or lose, he gon' be there. Talking every play like fresh air. Bills Mafia. Everybody in attendance, crowd when the big game hit, he on call for show. It's the KR Big Game Show. KR in the zone, when it's time for the moment, you already know.
Ladies and gentlemen, the KR Big Game Show with your host, Big Game Kerry Reeves.